Hello, it's Mike Claas, and I am in eastern Indiana, and as a crow flies, I am 10 miles from my house in Ohio. So I am right on the state line, just a couple miles into Indiana, and I am out here with Jamar Farms out of Piqua, Ohio, who is doing some custom chopping for the dairy farm you see in the background. Jamar Farms is out here with their two Claas 960 Jaguar choppers with 10 row heads in their trucks to haul the silage back to the farm. They started chopping here on Labor Day, and there was a little rain, had a rain delay, and you can see it's a little wet in the field, and they had to go put the floater tires on their some of their semis and some of the trailers to get through the fields. And because the fields were a little soft, the dairy farm had their International 5488 out here with a tow strap just in case one of the trucks got hung up so they could pull them out and get them on the road. And you're going to see a couple video clips of that coming up later. And to give you a little history, that driveway you see right up there in front of the trees, that is the highest point in the state of Indiana, also known as Hoosier Hill. So this is just a little bit north and west of a town called Bethel, Indiana, which actually doesn't have a mailing address. I think the actual mailing address here is Lynn, Indiana, and this is just west, north and west on Indiana State Route 227. So there's some bicycles riding out there, and I'll tell you a little story about that. But that little drive right there, there is a sign you'll see coming up, but that is the highest point in Indiana, right inside them trees there, and it's not a mountain by any means, just a high spot right here at the edge of the field is all it is. And that elevation is 1,257 feet. If you've ever traveled Indiana, especially southern Indiana, you get down there some hills down in southern Indiana. You would think that would be the high spot, but actually this is higher. Down in them hills, such in Brown County, Indiana, you're talking elevations in the 800 to 1,050 foot range, and there are places down there where from valley to hilltop does range 400 to 500 feet, but this is the actual highest spot right here, Hoosier Hill. There it is, folks. So I got a little other story to tell you here. People come and go here all the time, and as I walked in here, you're going to see some people in here and some bicycles. And I talked to these people, and this family of four in here is from Germany. So they were over here visiting in the United States doing some vacationing. And what they were doing is traveling to central United States. They rented an RV and these bicycles, and they were going to each state, to the highest point in each state. So they got, the night before, they got down to Richmond, Indiana, and they camped out, and they rode their bicycles up here, approximately a 10-mile drive from Richmond. And they had a picnic lunch and rode their bikes back to their campground and was going to go on from there. They were going to go back to Germany soon. What they were really surprised about was these forage harvesters running in the field here. They were not 100% sure what was going on. They just knew they were harvesting corn. So I explained to them the process, and then when I told them that these two Claas machines were actually made in Germany, they were quite surprised. So enough of that. Now we are back at the farm in the silage pile here, and got all kinds of action here. Got a John Deere bulldozer pushing silage. We have a T8 New Holland tractor with a packer on the back of it, and a John Deere 8630 with a blade and a field cultivator, 3-point hitch field cultivator on the back, just with that cement block just for weight, pushing back the silage. Also later on, you're going to see a white 2135 in here with a front blade. So Jamar Farms is doing the custom chopping and the hauling, and the actual farm itself is doing the pushing and packing of the silage. there's about 30 more minutes of video for you here to watch from aerial, on the chopper, and on the ground footage, so sit back and enjoy. Also, just want to mention the corn you see in this video. Some places does not look so good. And I did a video at this same farm last year in a lot of these same fields, and the corn just looked excellent. As I mentioned in some of my other farming videos from this spring and summer, Ohio and a lot of Indiana had a pretty tough growing season. Went from planting season started out very good, then it got wet, and then too much rain, and there was a lot of replant and such, and drowned out spots, and had just still too much rain up through 1st of July, mid-July, depending where you lived. And if you missed, there was spots that just missed every rain shower that come through after that. Went through a 5-6 week dry period, and here we are. So now we're back to rain, but it didn't do the corn any favors for just to have phenomenal yields. Also, because some of the corn got planted early, some got planted late, the chopping season in Ohio and Indiana is going to be all over the place. Know some guys that started like the 3rd week of August chopping corn silage, and there's guys that say they will be chopping up until mid-October just because of the delay in the planting process. And at this particular farm, they're going to chop X amount of acres here for a couple days, and then they're going to go do another job and come back here in a couple weeks because of there was like a 2-week period this spring where nothing got planted. Probably a 2 or 3 week period, just nothing happened. And then there was a lot of replant. One other thing I will mention is, since I am right now 10 miles west of my house, and this is the highest point in Indiana, in the summer when you are expecting some rain or they're calling for rain, you look at the radar, you're like, yeah, we're going to get it. The storm will actually split right here, and it will miss where I live and go around. It'll be north and south of us, and then about 5 miles east of my house it'll join back up and rain again. And some say this highest point of the state will actually split the storms. The spot you are seeing right here in this field originally was the highest point in Indiana. And what I learned from the landowner here is he seen a guy out here surveying, and he said something to him that he thinks the spot over there in the woods that I originally showed you was the highest point, and the guy checked it, and sure enough, that spot was higher. So maybe that changed over the years from farming this field. It might have knocked that high spot down, I'm not sure, but originally that was it. And that, my YouTube followers, is the history lesson of the day.